Hello everyone. In this session, let us understand the topic modes of transfer. Before we actually get into this, I will give you a scenario to understand this. Let us say that a user tried to communicate with the computer system. Of course, you know that every user will use an IO device to communicate with the system, right? This IO device could be either a keyboard or a printer or any other peripheral device that he would like to take either output or giving the input. So he will definitely use a peripheral device. On the other hand, let us talk about a CPU. You know that the CPU will continuously execute the programs. CPU will always be engaged in executing some or the other programs. Okay, so most of the times, as long as the computer system is switched on, CPU will have most of the times one or the other programs to execute. So let us say CPU executing the program. How the CPU is going to execute the program? Getting the instructions one by one. Let us say it is executing the 23rd instruction. Okay, the program counter value is 24 in this case. Okay, here at this exact point, the user want to communicate with the CPU, rather the computer system. The intention of the user when he tries to communicate with the system is to transfer the data to the main memory. I do have a memory also, right? So this is the main memory. I do have main memory. Here, whenever he tries to communicate with a computer system by using the peripheral device, the data that is generated eventually will get transferred to the main memory. The data will be from IO device to the main memory. What is the reason? Simple. The programs are available in main memory. Any data that is being sent or received only from main memory, CPU only executes program. Every data that is being generated by the input devices, rather the every data that is being produced to the output devices originated at the main memory. So here the user, when he tries to communicate with the system, let us say he pressed a key in the keyboard, he want to send the information to the main memory. Okay, so let us hear what is the CPU doing. The CPU is already engaged in executing the program, right? So here, in this case, whenever users comes with a request, immediately the CPU should suspend the current program and reciprocate to the request of the user. Should handle the request of the user, because users programs, rather user programs will have the highest priority. Okay, every time the user comes up with a request through the peripheral devices to either transfer or receive the data, CPU should deal with this request with the highest priority. That is, it should suspend the current program that is being executed. Okay, now the eventual job of the CPU is to make a transfer from peripheral device to the main memory or from main memory to the peripheral devices. This is what going to happen every time when a user tries to request the CPU. This transfer can happen in three ways. That is all about modes of transfer. The CPU will be able to send or receive the data from the peripheral devices and to and from the main memory in three ways. One is programmed IO way. Second is interrupt initiated way. And the third one is direct memory access way. Okay. Peripheral devices, CPU, and main memory. The data must be in between peripheral device and the main memory. CPU will have to make a transfer. Okay. So this communication can be done. Rather, this transfer can happen in three methods. The first method is the programmed IO method. Second one is the interrupt initiated method. And the third one is direct memory access method. CPU could use one of these methods to initiate transfers. Okay, as it is given in the slide, when the user is ready with the data, CPU receives a request, that is, a character has been typed. The CPU should make a transfer to and from the main memory by suspending the current program. This is what. Now let us analyze the first method which is used to make this transfer, that is programmed IO. Okay. Now let us look at the screen. You can see that there is something called input register. Only focus on the things what I'm gonna tell you. There is something called output register. There is something called input register. There is output flag and there is input flag. Okay, you can see that there is an FGI. Okay, there is an FGO. This is FGO. This is FGI. What are these flags? This is an input flag and this is an output flag. Sir, what are these flags? Please explain. Sure, I will. Whenever a request has been generated from the input devices, input flag will be raised to 1. Okay. Whenever there is a request generated from output devices, output flag will be equal to 1. When one of these flags are set, CPU should immediately suspend the current program. That is, CPU should execute the current instruction and should suspend the next instruction so that the current program will get suspended. So it should make this transfer to and from the main memory to peripheral devices, right? So here, this flag must always be watched. This flag must always be watched because every time when a user is ready with the data, that is, when a character has been typed on the keyboard, for an example, immediately input flag will be set to 1. The moment input flag set to 1, immediately should see the CPU should anticipate to this request. Okay, that is, it should respond immediately the moment the input flag is set. It can't wait for even for a millisecond. Because, as I already told you, users' programs and the user's request should have to be dealt with the highest priority. Okay. Now, in the programmed IO method, the CPU will watch the flags. How? Let us understand. You know that the CPU is going to execute the programs. It is executing, let us say, a 20th instruction. After executing the instruction, CPU will watch the flag. That is, input flag and output flag. Okay. And if none of the flags are set, then it goes and executes the next instruction. Again, it checks the input flag and output flag after executing the next instruction. Then, let us say there are no flag sets again. Again, it goes and takes the next instruction, which means that the CPU is going to check the flags if they are set at the end of every instruction's execution. The moment one instruction is executed, it goes and checks the flags. If one of the flags are set, then it is going to suspend the program and it makes a transfer. If none of the flags are set, it goes and takes the next instruction. Here in this case, at the end of this 23rd instruction, it finds that there is a flag set. Input flag is set. Means that an input device is ready to transfer the data to the main memory. So CPU should immediately make this transfer. For that, it should suspend this current program. This is what programmed IO method. In the programmed IO method, CPU is going to watch the flags at the end of every instruction cycle. The moment when a flag is set, the CPU is going to suspend the current program by suspending the next instruction, and then it should make a transfer. Okay, how this transfer is going to happen, let us see. We're discussing about programmed IO. Events are as follows. The first step is, after execution, current instruction, CPU watches flags. Okay. If a flag set, suspend current program by saving program counter into stack. You know that every time when a program has been suspended, the current program counter value should be pushed into the stack. Then make a transfer, right? Make necessary transfer. Okay. Now here, in the programmed IO, these are the initial events. At the end of every instruction execution, flags will be watched. If there is a flag set, then suspend the current program by pushing the program counter value into the stack, and followed by making a necessary transfer, which are requested by the user. Here in which, in the programmed IO, in order to make this transfer, how the transfer is going to happen? Simple, by executing a program. Let me tell you. CPU is going to execute a program. Next sequence of events will be, after executing the current instruction, next sequence of events will be CPU executes a program to make this transfer. Okay. Now, what is the program? Let us understand. Let us say a keyboard want to send information. Okay. If you could actually remember, there are a few IO instructions. Okay, there is a category of IO instructions. After memory reference instruction and register reference instruction, there exists a category of IO instructions. If you can actually have a look at, there are several IO instructions: INP, OUT, SKI, SKO, ION, and IOF. These are the 6 IO instructions which handles the IO request to transfer. So here CPU uses these instructions to make a transfer. When CPU executes INP instruction, a character from the peripheral device will get transferred to accumulator via input register. Okay, that is, when a character has been ready and there is a request arrived, immediately CPU is going to execute an instruction called INP. INP instruction will make a transfer from peripheral device to the accumulator. But origin is main memory, right? We need to transfer, the eventual destination is main memory. So CPU is going to use another instruction which is called store. Store, let us say 450, which means that after transferring the character to the accumulator, CPU uses one more instruction to make an actual transfer to main memory from accumulator. You know that which instruction is going to be used to make the transfer? It is a store instruction. Okay. Now, this set of instructions, that is INP and store, will transfer one character, right? Will transfer one character. How many characters are typed? Let us say 100 characters have been typed by the user. So CPU should execute 100 into 2, 200 instructions. A set of INP and store for every character transfer requires 2 instructions. So 100 characters are needed to be transferred. Each character requires INP and store. That means that 100 into 2 is equal to a set of 200 instructions. A set of instructions needed to transfer. Okay. Hence, programmed IO. What do you mean by a set of instructions? A set of instructions is a program, right? So that is the reason why we are calling it as a programmed IO. Now you could recollect the sequences. CPU at the end of every clock cycle, bigger pattern, at the end of every instruction cycle, CPU is going to execute an IO instruction. If there has been an IO request generated, sequence will be as follows. CPU is executing 19th instruction. At the end of the 19th instruction, CPU is going to check if there is a flag set. If no flag is set, CPU is going to go to the next instruction. It will be fetched, decoded, executed. After execution, again it watches the flags. If there is a flag set, go to IO instruction, otherwise come back to execute a current instruction. Let us say one flag is set at the end of 23rd instruction. So CPU is going to suspend 24th instruction, which means that the current program has been suspended, after which an IO program is going to be executed. Okay. IO program consists of these two instructions. If it is an input transfer, output transfer will have two instructions. Those are load and OUT. Load will make a transfer from main memory to accumulator. OUT makes a transfer from accumulator to peripheral device. Okay, so this is the thing. Hence, we are calling it as a programmed IO. Okay. Next, we are going to understand the drawback of the programmed IO and which is the best method to make this transfer. Thank you.